Hookup on Music with your host, Tony Bird.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hookup on Music. Episode 118th is what graces us tonight. It's crazy to say that number out loud, like it is 117 or 16, and it will be 119 next week. But we've got a rocking week planned for you today. A lot of different stuff. That is always the goal here at the Hookup on Music, to bring different kind of avenues on music and what's been new and what has been gracing our turntables, our CD players, our tape decks, even sometimes our 8-track players. But for today, what do we have in store? We have a lot of different stuff in store. What have you been listening to? That is the question that I always like to ask. And if you have been listening to anything and it's worth sharing and you've enjoyed it, please always share it in the comment section below. It's always good to pass music along to different people, no matter what it is. Do not be ashamed at the Hookup. We love to hear all different kinds of things. Tonight, we're getting started with a couple of bands with the word dead in the title. Both happen to be punk rock bands. Let's get started with the first band here tonight, the Dead Milkmen. Milkmen. They were an American band formed in Philadelphia. Original lineup consisted of Rodney Linderman, or Rodney Anonymous, on guitars and vocals, Joey Gennaro, or Joe Jack Telcom, on bass. You had like I said, again, let's go through this one more time. Vocals, keyboards, Rodney Linderman. Guitars, vocals, Joe Gennaro. Bassist, Dave Schulles, and drummer, Dean Sabadino. Dean Clean. Always got to get those names clear and clean. They were involved in the hardcore punk scene in the 1980s, which is definitely awesome. And mixed with their sardonic humor, delivered a thick, just a really thick slice of great music, honestly. They attracted a lot of college radio attention with their 85 debut, Big Lizard in My Backyard, and the song Bitchin' Camaro. Let's dig a little bit deeper into the Big Lizard in My Backyard, which is an incredible art cover, to say the least. But just a really released on Restless Records, 42 minutes and 14 seconds, a little bit longer for a punk album, but 21 tracks, which is cool. Starting out with Tiny Town, Gorilla Girl, as stated, Bitchin' Camaro, Rostabilly, Serrated Edge, Dean's Dream. You wonder also kind of how a lot of this came together back in the day. You hear a lot of bands like Yes, who seem to be very, a lot of different stuff coming at you, but the Dead Milkmen really do a good job doing sparsity in their music. Eat Your Paisley is their second studio album. Okay, this came out in 86. Again, a great collective. Produced by John Wicks, Dave Reckner, and the band too. A video was shot for the song The Thing That Only Eats Hippies. If you are unfamiliar, you're not going to find a lot of punks who hanging out with hippies, especially during this time. But also, in The Only Thing That Eats Hippies is the band shines Bob, Greg, and Grant. You should be aware, a reference to Husker Du's Bob Mould, Greg Norton, and Grant Hart, which is a very interesting track if you have not. Digging deeper into the album, 50 Things is good. 2 Feet Off the Ground, Earwig, Moron, The Fez, Vince Lombardi, Service Center is included on as a bonus track. But honestly, as you dig deeper into the Dead Milkmen, you realize that they are, a good little band here. Bucky Fellini, the third studio album by the Dead Milkmen, was released in 87 and actually peaked at 163 on the Billboard 200. You may be saying to yourself, Dead Milkmen were on the Billboard 200? Yes, they were. I Am the Walrus, which is one of the tracks on the album, is not a cover of the Beatles song, which is very interesting because a lot of people would see that and go, oh, they do a Beatles cover? No, it is not. The track off the album, Watching Scotty Die, was covered by Mischief Brew. which is interesting to hear that people are going out and covering this. Taco Land, track 9. Don't we all want to be in Taco Land all the time? Jellyfish Heaven, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Surfing Cow. I mean, these titles are where you're going to find a lot of just awesomeness. Fourth studio album, Beezle Bubba. What an interesting title that is. 45 minutes and 29 seconds on this album. 17 tracks on this. You may say which is the longest track on this album is clocking at two of them at 3:49. Bleach Boys and Smoking Banana Peels. Does not sound like a pleasant experience. But Stewart, RC's mom, and starting off the album is Brat and the Frat. Just another interesting album. If you're looking at the cover is Roddy Letterman, his father, also named Rodney. He is on the cover. Peaked at 101 on the Billboard 200. On this album is pretty much the song that has interested me in the band. Very cool little track called Punk Rock Girl. Even local radio stations you'll find sometimes spinning this one. The album is lyrically really depicts a duo bonding over record shopping and pizza. Sounds like a really great thing, but it was primarily composed by guitarist Joe Gennaro and bassist Dave Schulze, though it is credited to all 4 band members. Another just a cool song, a cool music video too. But just definitely worth it if you have not been able to dig into that one. It is peaked at 11 on the modern rock tracks. It's crazy when you start doing research for this, how far some of these songs actually went up the chart. I like this one. Metaphysical Graffiti, parody of Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti, which we've talked about a lot on here. Again, cracking the Billboard Top 200 in 164. What is this? It is just a just a really interesting album, which definitely talks about the sarcastic commentaries on greed, which is always interesting from a punk rock perspective in a good way. The Chicago Tribune deemed this album more screaming, more production, and less melody. Sounds like good for me for a punk rock album. But the Dead Milkmen is, sailing along. Okay. Soul Rotation, another cool album cover. Their 6th studio album now we are at, and released on Hollywood Records. Peaked at number 16 on the Billboard's Heat Seekers album chart. Very, very interesting. Very cool in its own way, in its own interesting. I like the world, the way it's all split up on the album cover. When you're looking through these notes and you're looking through the things that we commented on while I'm doing research for this show, it's just always cool and interesting. What is also interesting is the band first time the band cut an entire album using digital recording methods. So gone were the old classic methods, and in were the classic methods. Chicago Tribune judges a sprightly little pop album. At the Moment starts it off. Conspiracy song, Silly Dreams, God's Kid Brother, If I Had a Gun, and ending in Shaft in Greenland. Again, the band is cooking with great song titles and interesting melodies, and definitely keep going through, but definitely not letting it bother them. 7th studio album, Not Richard But Dick, is another album that is interesting because, but just to let you know, it is not a playoff of Richard Nixon, but a person named Richard J. Latch, who referred to be addressed as not Richard but Dick. Don't call me Richard, call me Dick. You may say, how long is this album? 27 minutes and 56 seconds, a very short cut in an album by a great band. But, the band is going. 8th studio album, Stoney's Extra Stout, is again on the Restless studio album. Trouser Press wrote that typical of uninspired banality, the final track, Big Deal, opens with life sucks, then you die, and your soul gets sucked into the sky. Quite the lyrics there. Also on the album is Peter Bazooka starts it off. The blues song, I Can't Stay Awake, Crystalline, Chaos Theory. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're getting closer here to the end of the studio albums. The King in the Yellow was released in 2011. Okay. Again, the reception, um, great. The one thing that Dead Milkmen are always known for is their Philadelphia accents, which they put through in a lot of their songs. And it's also kind of cool that they always have a sense of humor. Um, Hangman, some young guy, or maybe it is the King in Yellow, William Bloat. A definitely interesting double feature. Um, Pretty Music for Pretty People is the 10th studio album by the Dead Milkmen. Um, and they got back together. See, we skipped over a whole part where the Dead Milkmen decided that where they weren't going to play for a while. So from 95 to 2008, those were the years they ended and they started back up. And if you say to yourself, 13 years right there. But coming a long way up into this point is the Dead Milkmen. Um, Pretty Music for Pretty People, though, was their 10th studio album. Okay, good album, and you may say to yourself, how long are their albums now? Are they shorter, longer? 51 minutes and 25 seconds and 17 tracks. Okay, what is the longest track? We're in the fours on some of these. 4 minutes, 11 seconds is Somewhere Over Antarctica. Again, you fan of the band, they're cooking. Okay, Quaker City Quiet Pills was their last release in 2023. Always playing, doing Riot Fest, doing tours, doing this, doing that. If you do have an opportunity to see the Dead Milkmen, I would definitely check them out. Rodney Linderman definitely does a great job as a humorist for the band. Satirical is definitely what the Dead Milkmen are, and they are definitely a band that I would suggest that you check out if you get an opportunity. Now we're gonna head on to the other side of the pond, and which is the United States. We're gonna head to the Dead Kennedys, where they are from, San Francisco. Forming in 1978, the band was one of the defining punk bands during its initial 8-year run. So if you are a fan of punk rock, you could always akin to this band putting out good stuff. Initially consisting of East Bay Ray on guitar, Claus Fluoride on lead vocalist, Jello Biafra. I mean, East Bay Ray, lead guitarist, Claus Fluoride, bassist, Jello Biafra is a vocalist, and Ted was their original drummer. They had an original rhythm guitarist named 6025, Carlo Cadana. Was only in the band from 78 to 79. But really interesting to see that they had an original guitar player. But let's go into how many albums has the Dead Kennedys had. Have they had more or less than Dead Milkmen? No, they've had a lot less. Let's go through their 4 albums here. Fresh Fruit for the Rotting Vegetables was their debut album. Okay. What was it on? It was IRS in the United States. Also was Carlo Cadana. This is only on 1 track on this album. And also the only studio album by the Dead Kennedys to feature Bruce Schlesinger on the guitar. 33 minutes and 3 seconds. California Uber Alice, Holiday in Cambodia, Kill the Poor were singles released from this album. I never actually knew that there were singles from this, but again, this is September 2nd, 1980. Punk is in full throttle, and but here's something that the Andy Gill of NME shared. He said that Dead Kennedys hardly come across as anything but smarter, both musically and intellectually. Despite the Dead Kennedys' grasp of dynamics and their highly ordered arrangements, there's really only 1 track here which makes effective use of their mannerisms and devices, and that's Holiday in Cambodia. one thing you're always going to find when digging through punk albums and punk releases is just the respect was not given a whole lot to the band, to be honest with you. Plastic Surgery Disasters was the second full length release by the band. Um, what is on this one? Halloween. Why didn't we include this in our Halloween song countdown? Terminal Preppy, 1 minute and 30 seconds. Going into East Bay Ray. East Bay Ray is a guitar player. His work has been influenced by everything from jazz and rockabilly. Going along with Biafra's astute lyrics, East Bay Ray's playing was one of the defining factors of the music of the Dead Kennedys. Definitely interesting in how when you're in these bands and you're on the third album, Frankenchrist, which again, one thing we always talk about here on Hookup on Music is just how cool album covers seem to be. Album covers are really, really cool in many, many different ways. But we always enjoy some really cool record covers. And that's why just now we have switched over to our new amazing background there. You can see some cool record covers. But definitely is interesting. There is a lack of their usual hardcore style on this. But definitely the album is also an example of the band's progressive and psychedelic side. The spaghetti western soundtrack influence is noticeable on the horn parts and East Ray's guitar work. What is on here? What is some of the tracks? Again, clocking at 45 minutes and 12 seconds. I like last track, 6 minutes. You know us, we love long tracks here at the Hookup. Stars and Stripes of Corruption. Wow, Chicken Farm. Soup is Good Food. Hell Nation. This could be anywhere. Again, longer songs for a punk band. Bedtime for Democracy is the fourth and final studio album by the Dead Kennedys. Dead Kennedys had some really cool album covers. Confront a lot of different things on this album: conformity, Reaganomics, the U.S. military, critique of the hardcore punk movement. The album's title is a 1951 comedy film, Bedtime for Bonzo, starring Ronald Reagan. That's pretty hilarious. It was also would be their last concert was going around at this time because there was trials that were going on over the controversial art included in their previous album. So, which is very interesting to say that. I like their lead off track, Take This Job and Shove It, Do the Slag, I Spy, Lie Detector, okay, Chicken Conformist, 5 minutes and 58 seconds. That's an album title. Always known to me as one of their albums, but it actually is not, is the Gimme Convenience or Gimme Death, a compilation, okay, songs, different versions, a lot of their track. Very interesting release. The album starts off with the two tracks that honestly, Police Truck and Too Drunk to, well, we're not going to say it because it's just too cool to say out loud. But both of these tracks are just a great 1-2 punch. Holiday in Cambodia is on here, California Uberelli's, The Man with the Dogs, just a lot of cool stuff. But then that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? They don't have any more studio albums. They got some live stuff, that has been released. More compilations, Milking of the Sacred Cow. You know, they're what is the Dead Kennedys up to these days? What are they up to? They're still touring. Okay, you can still see them. You can still check them out, what they're up to. But sometimes the hatchet just can't be buried, and original lead singer Jello Biafra is not part of any of what's been going on. So you'll be seeing different stuff, but they definitely cool. Biafra was definitely dismissive of the band getting back together, does not want like rock reunion oldies tours, but East Bay Ray and the rest of the gentlemen has decided that, you know what? Why not? Steve Wilson's playing drums. Ron Skip Greer is on lead vocals since 2008. Claus Loride is still playing bass in East Bay Ray. Um, Ron Skip Greer, just really interesting. He replaced Jeff Penalty, who had played for a while with the Dead Kennedys. Um, Interesting. I'm curious if you've heard them or anything that they've done of recent, but be curious to hear from your perspective what that sounds like. All right, let's dig into some new music. Garbage has just released their eighth studio album. When was their first album out? You may ask yourself. It was eight. Feels like they've been around a long time to only have eight albums, which is always kind of 1995. So pretty much 30 years ago, that they I got to do the math here. That's how long. It's crazy. It's been, but honestly, good little album here. Definitely recorded in a lot of different settings. There is again, the album's called No Gods, No Masters. Um, that was their last album. This new album is called Let All We Imagine Be the Light, which definitely is very interesting to say the least. There's no future and optimism and Get Out of My Face, aka Bad Kitty, um, were a couple of the singles that were released April 9th and May 9th, respectively, a month apart, before this new album has seen the light of day. But if you are a fan of the band, they're clicking on all cylinders here. Um, Butch Vig on drums. Yeah, that Butch Vig, the producer of Nevermind and other great albums by Smashing Pumpkins, L7, Sonic Youth. Definitely been drumming now for Garbage and also a co-producer for the band, which is just gotta be fun. Gotta be a lot of fun. Duke Erickson is another gentleman who is a part of the band. He's from Nebraska. Okay, like a lot of these guys in the band, it's cool. They're like a lot older than the singer Shirley Manson. I mean, uh, guitar player Duke Erickson, he's already 74. Okay, which is not to say that that's nothing wrong with that. Butch Vig, 69. So these guys are rocking. Steve Marker is 66. So they've all been with the band with Shirley Manson, and honestly, it's just a really, really, really just a cool little band they got going on this one. Who's in the producer chair for this one is Garbage himself and Billy Bush. What's Billy Bush work with? Neon Trees, Foster the People, the Boxer Rebellion. But again, dig into this. Let us know what you think of this album, which is definitely, I think, a really cool album by the band. Trying to get a little bit bigger in the lyrics, Manson states. Some definitely fantasy behind some of their music. We talked about it before on here. They came out with a real awesome cover album that is definitely worth you digging into if you get the time to do that. Is definitely worth your time. We don't want to take up your time with nothing that is worth your time. But that's always our goal here. Also sharing with you this week, shared with me with my man Andrew, shared it with me. Vid Hadarda, Dar Skojan Sklunger under Evidence Graner. I might have got that all wrong, but what I didn't get wrong is how awesome this album cover is. Talk about coolness, talk about smoothness, talk about just an all around, looks like a cool little album. And it is, it's heavy, but it's also arty. I like that. Heavy and arty. Hardy. It's a good hearty release. Heavy and arty. Is be fun and arty. That might be farty, and we don't want that. We want a hearty. It's a good hearty right here. But check that one out too. A lot of good stuff on there. Love sharing and looking at a lot of different stuff. popping up a lot on my awesome playlist lately is Black Sabbath's Children of the Grave. Doom, doo, 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 doom, doo, 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 doom. Just what a cool guitar riff that is. The drums are really awesome too, by the Bill Ward. Of course, Tony Iommi's playing the guitar, Geezer Butler's on bass, Ozzy rocking it. I like the breakdown. Not a lot of breakdowns happening in metal around that time, or metal at all. Black Sabbath might have been the only one doing it, but the breakdown is really, really awesome on that one. Definitely worth checking into if it's been a long time. Play it loud, play it at a barbecue. Summertime is almost here. What are you playing? Children of the Grave. That sounds positive. Put it on. Some of my favorite music personally. We've got Pearl Jam, which is always someone we got. And we just love, now we just put up random photos to kind of say, hey, Pearl Jam. But in a news story that I found to be very, 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 very interesting, Michael J. Fox, the amazing, amazing actor in so many great movies, is looking for his original Back to the Future guitar. We got to find it for him. That was definitely played to amazing ability in the film, and we need to see it because he needs it back, which is definitely sad that he lost it. But you may be saying to yourself, why would I know where that's at? I think we can come together here and find this guitar, because definitely it's a shame. Gibson is putting on the launch for this, which is very interesting that they're willing to do this. It's a Cherry Red ES345. He was definitely rocking it. Maybe we could find a DeLorean and see where it kind of got lost. But check that into that if you happen to know where that guitar is. Very, very interesting. Also very interesting. Iron Maiden is back out on tour. We love Maiden here. Setlist looks pretty cool to me. People are always, they always got their complaints when a Setlist comes out. We try not to complain too much when it comes to a Setlist, but they're playing so many cool tracks to us. Playing 4 off of Power Slave, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Aces High, Power Slave, and Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. 3 off of Killers, Murder in the Room, Morgan, Wrathchild. When are you going to hear those 3 on a thing? What's the complaints here? Number of the Beast, they're playing Hallowed Be Thy Name, Run to the Hills, Number of the Beast, off of Iron Maiden, and Phantom Opera. Seventh Son of the Seventh Son, title track, and the Clairvoyant, Fear of the Dark, Peace of Mind, The Trooper, and Wasted Years. I'm not seeing too many complaints here in the set list, but that's what people do. People are complaining about the current set list. Let them play it. Let them rock out. Just go and rock out. Don't judge. Have a good time. Same thing's going on in Ministry World. They are currently touring over their original new wave material, which is good to say the least. But let a band cook. Let a band tour. A lot of people are like, why aren't you playing the heavier stuff? Psalm 69. They've been playing that. They always play the heavy stuff. They wanted to do some original. And to be fair, when I mean original is that Al hasn't wanted been playing a lot of that older stuff. He wanted to dig back into the older stuff. Which, because supposedly they're hanging it up. So why not dig back in? They're supposedly making one more album. Going to be curious to hear that when that's coming out, because they just came to tour. You saw them on their newest album tour, which we've talked about plenty of times on here. You would have saw them play a lot of the cool, heavy stuff. So definitely not a fan of sometimes letting a band cook, because not letting a band cook sometimes lets a band put out non-good material. And honestly, when push comes to shove over here at the Hookup on Music, we want you to put out some really, really good quality material. I think that is always our goal. And let our ears judge it. Don't don't read. Even us saying, listen to it. Let us know. Maybe I did miss something, and you can share it, which is always cool to do. If you have not, go back and check out the last week's at the show. Some really good conversation on the Mission Impossible films. Great soundtracks there. Great soundtrack pick of the week. Check that out. This week is going to be equally awesome. Fantasy films, always good music included in those. Go to the sadisticpenguinstudios.com website and check out the little article I wrote. I'm going to start trying to come up with one every week. It's the backside of albums. You got an album you want us to talk about the final tracks on it? We got no problem digging into that here at the Hookup on Music. It's what we love to do. I am always appreciative of you tuning into anything here on the network. Always appreciative of my amazing at the show partner, Yumper, always putting in a lot of cool stuff. Everything else, check out, we did a cool Bond video on the very first movie, Dr. No. The new one from Russia with Love, she'll be dropping next week. So keep an eye on that and everything else that we keep doing. I believe this Sunday, It's Getting Drafty is returning. You can check that out here, wherever you find your podcast. But everyone else out there, I just want to say thank you so much. We love rocking out with you. And until the very next time, I want everyone out there to have a good time, have a safe time, keep rocking, share with us some good music, and we we'll be back with you soon next week for some more awesome magic that, only we can provide here on the Hookup on Music. Episode 118, signing off. My name is Tony B. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Please look out for the audio version wherever you jam.